Hello everyone, welcome to AcademiaBlockchain. Today we have a very special guest. I am very glad to have you here because you will share with us a very important project. It's a project I've been following for many years and it's called Particl. It is focused on privacy and well, I'll let you tell me the rest. So share with us, what is your relationship with the project? How did you came to the crypto economics environment? You told me you're a doctor, so I think that's very interesting. Yeah, how did that happen? And well, we'll start from there.
Okay, so my name's Dr. Kapil Amarasinghe. I'm an emergency medicine doctor. I got into cryptocurrency properly from around 2016 when I discovered Ethereum, and I was really fascinated by the idea of smart contracts and the potential world-changing aspects of that. I saw a lot of potential applications. I got involved into cryptocurrency at that point primarily as a speculator. So I put money down. That paid off nicely, which is great. But in that time, I discovered a project called Shadow Cash. And what they were, I was exploring lots of different areas of crypto. You go down the rabbit hole, and I discovered one called Shadow Cash, and I was really intrigued by this because they were proposing the idea of integrating a marketplace into their blockchain, so the currency is the store. And that was really interesting to me because, you know, you had Bitcoin, and I was aware of Bitcoin, you know, as far as 2012. And Bitcoin is great because it's potentially a good currency, as are all cryptocurrencies, but the one step that they don't have is you always have to find stores to adopt them. Now, what that means is you have to go find a vendor who says, yes, I'm going to then set up the infrastructure and the required payment processing services to actually accept this. I'm going to have to learn about this technology. What Shadow Cash, which has since evolved into Particl, was proposing is actually, let's build and integrate the marketplace functionality into the blockchain so that when you download the blockchain, you're effectively downloading a software client, a bit like Spotify, and then it will just automatically populate with listings that you can then, and you yourself can automatically, just by using that software, just list things to sell and look for things to buy that are actually listed on that blockchain itself. So it removes this crucial infrastructure gap that most blockchains have to achieve. And it really increases that level of convenience and reduces that amount of friction that comes with actually transacting in cryptocurrencies because the marketplace is the blockchain.
Well, that's very interesting. So right now, that is the objective of Particl, right?
That's right.
What is your relationship with this project, Particl?
So, as I said, I discovered it in its precursor form and I started following it. I was interested as a speculator. But the more I learned about the project and the team and the ambitions of the team and their broader vision, the more I came to sort of realize the value of privacy-focused networks. So the one thing I haven't really mentioned is that, you know, that this is a privacy-focused marketplace. And I think there's something really important here, and this is probably why I'm so passionate about it. If you look at traditional e-commerce systems, Amazon, Alibaba, eBay, you name it, you have to sign up to the website, give up your personal information. They are now holding that personal information on their server, and you are trusting that they're going to use that information responsibly. Plus, you accept that they're effectively going to perform analytics and all kinds of data analysis to effectively identify the kind of person you are. So you are, in order to transact online in the current e-commerce economy, giving up your privacy and giving up your data rights. With Particl, there is no sign up, there is no login. You don't have to give up any personal information to buy and sell goods online. They've effectively built their e-commerce platform in such a way that you just need to have a shipping address. And they achieve it through integrating an escrow that has no third party, where the buyer puts a deposit and the seller puts a deposit. So if I downloaded Particl, you know, if I get the alpha and set it up correctly, see the listings on the marketplace, I can see some goods, I can go, oh, I want to buy that. And there's no login, there's nothing. I just go click, buy it, deposit some part funds into my wallet. Okay, we create a little escrow pot. I, as a buyer, put an escrow deposit that's equal to currently it's equal to the value of the good, and the seller puts a deposit into that pot equal to the value of the item being sold. I give a shipping address, seller ships the goods, I receive them, I say, yeah, I got it, and then the seller says, yes, it's been sent, escrow's released, everything's done.
Well, I'm so happy I made this interview with you, because what you're saying resonates so much with the ideals of this channel. You know, Academia Blockchain has these ideals that, you know, the cryptocurrency should be used as a currency. So, yeah, let's talk a bit more about privacy. So why privacy? Like, why is that the focus of Particl? And let's elaborate on that.
Fundamentally, data security. For me, it's about protection against fraud and misuse of my data. You know, my dad got scammed last week because he received an email saying, you got to pay your TV license fee. And he wound up filling this form and giving his name, his date of birth, his maiden name for his bank details. He gave so much information in one go, and it went to scammers. That is you getting used to giving up your information, and then all of a sudden your guard is let down, boom, you're suddenly losing all of your savings. To me, it's data security first and foremost. What's the reason you don't tell, you know, everyone your annual salary or your monthly? Because, you know, tell the wrong people, they're going to come after you. It is simply protecting your assets from people who might do harm. I'm not saying everyone out there in the world's a scammer, but I'm saying some people are. And, you know, so much of the world's headaches are about security. So if we can build systems that improve our security by removing these things that make us insecure, that to me is worth, you know, building for and working for.
Yeah, yes. And you do not know what do these companies do with that information, mate. It ends up in the dark web somehow, so many times. Yeah.
No,
so,
I was gonna, I was actually going to say, even if you're a vendor, it's so important. You know, I actually did a podcast with a friend of mine, Joe Fisher, and we were talking about, he was an Amazon vendor for about a good 10 years, and he was saying Amazon actively performs analytics to find out what's selling well, and then they'll use their own capital to start up companies that can produce the same goods and then undercut you. So effectively, you know, you've got big monopolies and giants that can crush small businesses and effectively steal innovation. There's a fine art now in modern e-commerce of stealing intellectual property because, you know, we've given up our data privacy. And that's something that, you know, it's not just for the buyer end, it's for the seller end as well. You know, we've got to protect everyone.
Yes, indeed, yes. And you can think about that in the terms of the exchanges that have surveillance over the actions of the traders, you know. And who knows if the exchangers, if these exchanges are acting against the traders in the way a casino does. So let's go back to Particl, the project. What is the state of the project right now?
So right now, we've got an alpha version of the marketplace on our mainnet. So you can actually go to our website, to the website particl.io, download the desktop client. That's for Windows, IO, and Apple. And basically, you'll create a wallet called Market in that, and it will start loading up the listings. And actually, you can then start buying and selling goods on a general marketplace. That's the current state. We're actually very shortly about to transition into a phase where you'll be able to just download the software and actually you can create an infinite number of markets, and you don't need to go through that step of creating a market wallet. It just loads automatically. So we're doing a lot of big improvements because we're about to transition into our beta phase. And that's a really interesting phase, I think, from a usability point of view, where it's not just one general marketplace integrated on the blockchain. It's the ability for the end user to create as many marketplaces as they want. So you could be a vendor and you might have 5 different businesses that you run, and you could create 5 different storefronts, each with their own address, a bit like a website effectively, you know, it's like with a URL. And so you've got, okay, I've got my website, I've got my Particl marketplace for car parts, my Particl marketplace for tea, my Particl marketplace for clothing, and there's a separate storefront for each, and you just transmit the addresses on the networks to your circles of friends, and you can then buy and sell and transact pretty much with near perfect privacy this way. And actually, you know, yeah, sorry, this is so much actually. I'm not even telling you half of this, so.
No. Yeah, please continue. Like, if you have any other detail you want to share with us, this is the time.
So,
yeah.
so the beta phase is consisting of so many different parts. So we've already got the trustless escrow running where the buyer puts a deposit, the seller puts a deposit. Currently that's set up, the deposit's set at 100% of the item of the goods. So buyer has to put a deposit equal to 100%, seller puts a deposit equal to 100%. So we're doing variable rate escrow, the ability to create custom marketplaces on the blockchain. So Particl's not just one blockchain with one market, it's a blockchain with potentially an infinite number of markets and storefronts that can be created. Now, bearing in mind, you're not having to give up any personal information to create these. However, we are building reputation systems. So seller identity systems we're building into these, you know, and various other identity management systems. So to help build trust and to help build reputation to complement our escrow. I think one of the, you know, we're building the vendor onboarding program right now to help encourage and assist vendors to get on. We're lowering our listing fees. Now, the next update will potentially lower listing fees by up to 80%. Bearing in mind, our network has no commissions, effectively. Our escrow has 0 commission. Actually, we take 0 commissions on the sales of goods. You know, Amazon has been taking up to 40% at times, eBay about 15%, you know. We take 0. It's just listing fees, which are just fractions of a part token, which are fractions of a few cents. So actually, wow, we're bringing the fees on our network as close to 0 as possible to really reduce the friction and to maximize the profits for vendors and to reduce the actual cost of goods for end consumers. So that's where we're going to, near 0 fees, infinite marketplaces, improvements in the user interface. Well, get this, payment integration. So you can actually already, we've integrated a simple swap client into our current alpha version. So you can actually buy goods with Bitcoin. You can send Bitcoin to our client and it will convert to our native token. But we're doing more payment integration. So we've got good relationships with MakerDAO. We've got some good relationships with Zcoin. We're an open source project. And I'm going to get to the real power of this in a moment. But it's this idea that you could, because we're an open source project, yes, all the underlying settlement occurs in our native part token, right? But there's nothing stopping anyone building proprietary versions of this client, especially since we're doing the SDK as well. So the software development kit's coming out soon as well. So there's nothing stopping anyone building proprietary versions of this client that accept their cryptocurrency. Or if you're really passionate about your cryptocurrency, you could go, hey, I'm a big lover of Monero. Can we do a payment integration of Monero into the Particl desktop client? We'll be like, yeah, sure. And actually, I'm not going to, that is on the cards. So yeah, so we are looking to do Monero payment integration, Zcoin, DAI stablecoin, Bitcoin's already there. You know, you can do as many as you want. So we can actually provide non-speculative use case and liquidity to other cryptocurrencies.
Exactly. And that's exactly what we need in the ecosystem right now. Just not speculative use cases.
Yes.
So, and I think that what you say about creating markets helps with the localization, right?
Exactly.
Because most of our audience is in Latin America, in Mexico, in Argentina, in Spain, in Colombia. So how do you deal with localized markets?
So as a vendor, you know, there's nothing stopping a vendor saying, I'd like to create the Argentina Particl marketplace. And that could just list goods specific to Argentina. And then everything, you could build so you could do that with the next release, with the beta release. You could create a marketplace that's Argentinian, I don't know, Argentinian footwear. I keep thinking of apparel for some reason. Or you could say, I don't know, it could be a US firm that's doing pharmaceuticals. Or a Spanish firm that's doing really nice wine. They actually do surprisingly good wine. So you think of your product, or you think of your country, you think of what you want to represent, and you can build a marketplace and tool it within the client, within the next release. But also, if you wanted to create your own proprietary version of the software, because it's an open source platform and because an SDK is coming out, you know, there'll come a point where you can, there'll come a point where you'll just be able to create your own version that just plugs into the Particl blockchain, and that can just be customized for pretty much, you know, your interface effectively.
Yeah. Well, I see you have a pretty good insight of the situation the ecosystem is in right now. So this plugs in perfectly well with my next question. Like, how do you see the project in the future, and how do you see the ecosystem, like the whole crypto economy in the future at the Particl Project?
So this is super interesting, right? So I see a lot of synergy. I see a lot of people coming together and working together and collaborating in ways they never have done before and ways they've never thought about. Now, the first example that comes to mind, I did an interview, and I can send you the link at the end. I did an interview which was about the future of medical technology with a guy called Ned Saleh. They're building effectively a system that collates certain types of medical data and medical testing results into a blockchain on unique user tokens. Now, I can see marketplaces for data sets like that as an example. Sorry, let me step back. The broader ecosystem, actually, that's a whole different topic, and for 30 minutes I'm going to cut a little. Right now, I can see us developing a mobile applications platform. That's due. So mobile apps is the first step towards mainstream adoption, and I think once we get there and into building sort of webhook APKs so that, you know, the marketplace can be accessed from traditional websites, so that the accessibility to the network's easier. We've done a lot of work with atomic swaps, right? I shouldn't disclose this, but there is a lot of work going on with atomic swaps. We're working with the Zcoin guys on this. We made really significant advances. So actually, you can use our blockchain to facilitate feeless currency exchange across multiple cryptocurrencies that support atomic swap functionality. So we can potentially be a big arbitrage market, or the focal point of an arbitrage market, our chain. So we're talking arbitrage, currency exchange, real world goods and services, essentially mainstream adoption, the focal point and usage of multiple cryptocurrencies. I see lots of payment processing companies around the world saying, we might want to use your blockchain because of its marketplace and escrow functionality to help reduce our underlying cost burdens. So you can do cheaper payment processing using our blockchain, plus you get cheaper escrows, plus you get, you know, cheaper everything. We potentially have that focus point. And this is why it excites me more than Ethereum does. Because to me, the ecosystem proposed is a massive evolution on what Ethereum currently is doing. And that's not a knock on Ethereum, because what Ethereum's doing is huge. And I see Ethereum's ecosystem integrating into Particles in a very big way. I see Bitcoin's ecosystem integrating into Particl in a big way. I see Monero. I see there's so much cross collaboration. I see it as a driver for the world economy, for the global liquidity, as an expanding event. You know, as more people gain true accessibility to global markets, I see this as a means of, as a gateway for getting more people involved in global markets and global trading, people who wouldn't have had that ability before because maybe the commissions were too much, or maybe the barriers to entry were just too high. I see this lowering those barriers, that everything we, and not just we as in Particl, we as in a crypto ecosystem are doing. I believe there's real room there that we've yet to explore.
Well, I love the idea of lowering the barriers of entry to the market in general. So the next question has to do with legality, because, you know, in Ethereum, you can place some jurisdictions on top of Ethereum because you can put some ID there. But if you have privacy, what is the position of Particl in the topic of legality? That's a big topic, I know, but if you have just like a superficial or...
I think at the end of the day, I think Particl is an open source protocol. So the software that's built using Particl's underlying blockchain, you could have localized versions that are in compliance with local regulations and laws. That's not necessarily going to stop other versions being accessible or created to those who want them, but I think of it like Linux or like Windows. You think of it as a protocol layer at its core. Applications and proprietary software can be built on that, that's in compliance with laws, but you can still create malware using Windows operating systems, or like you can still create, you get what I mean? You can't stop these things. But the thing is, legally, can you and should you prosecute a protocol, especially one that puts an emphasis on privacy? I think there's a real ethical bridge to cross if you do, because what you're saying then is that privacy is illegal. At least that's potentially a potential endpoint of the argument.
Yes. Yes. Well, Cap, I love talking to you. I love how you explain the project to us. And well, I don't think we can go any deeper, but what you have already said is a lot. And I love the project. I've been following you for years. I followed you since the beginning of Particl, since like the very beginning. I bought some, then I sold some, and now here we are again. You just released the market. Particl just released the market, right?
Yeah.
So what is the next step? And if you have anything else you want to share with us, please do, because I like the project.
Sure. I think for us, the next steps are awareness and adoption and liquidity building. So as we gain more awareness, we'll hopefully gain more adoption. As we gain more adoption, the network will generate liquidity organically through trading of goods. And it will be a cycle that keeps perpetuating itself. So that's, you know, my hope. And I believe that as it perpetuates itself, if you look at the underlying tokenomics, they assist that, you know, through a mixture of staking and supply shock through escrow and diminishing circulating supply as the networks use more. Basically, I see adoption growing. I see more collaborations occurring. I hope that we gain more awareness and recognition, and I hope that we get more integrations and play a more integral part in the greater crypto ecosystem, because I believe we have a lot to offer. And I believe that this idea, this execution, this concept, I believe you could clone this and it will work. It's not about Particl, the name, it's about the idea and the execution. I believe it will work.
Yes, indeed. And of course, you need the network of people that like the idea. And I think that in this channel, we have a lot of subscribers that understand the idea behind Particl and the power of it. So, Cap, it was very good talking to you. I hope maybe we can make an update in several months from now to see how is it advancing, how is the next release, because I see you have an important release soon.
Yeah.
And well, all of Latin America is adopting crypto very fast. So I think it will be a very interesting future for this kind of project. All right. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right.
En el futuro, las cadenas de bloques y las criptomonedas serán tan comunes como el Internet. La mejor inversión es tu educación. Por tan solo $20, acceda a nuestros cursos y a nuestro club, donde estudiamos el funcionamiento, el mercado y el impacto de esta tecnología. Entra a academiablockchain.com y a www.academiablockchain.club